would they let smart humanoids off of this planet if we do another nuclear war? And this is really significant.
Another
because
nuclear
we've been
war?
threatened and we have been told.
Linda, we haven't
in the 50s,
had a
60s, and the
nuclear war
70s
yet.
By ETs. I know this for a fact. You will not be allowed to do nuclear explosions because you do not understand. When you separate, when you do fission at the atomic level, you are tearing into dimensions that you know nothing about. I know those words were said by ETs to a presidential level. And if we tear into dimensions that we know nothing about, this is the other part that was said to me that's chilling.
By this whistleblower?
No, this is discussions going back into the 80s and 90s of what we're talking about now.
Well, this is the contactee shit.
In the 50s, 60s, and 70s, we were having discussions
that, like,
about what had happened at the Minuteman missile site. My own brother was involved with an investigation at Malmstrom in 1973-4. So these discussions go back to the 1980s, which when we would gather at any kind of a conference, this was one of the big issues. It's very clear that something in the non-human category is interfering with Minuteman missiles, not to launch them, but to shut them down, and that there have been communications about you cannot do this.
That's
because
true.
you do not understand that you're tearing into other dimensions.
So there were a lot of accounts of, during the Cold War, U.S. missile bases were just being, like, spontaneously deactivated by UFOs. It was really fucking weird.
And that it is contained by a dimension called astral, A-S-T-R-A-L. And the beyond the astral, 2, 3, 4, maybe infinite. But that the astral dimension.
Well, we know for a fact that
Bigfoot
is 8-dimensional.
When we did the fission.
And we know that our girlfriends are 5-dimensional. Our girlfriends don't go to this dimension. You wouldn't know her, but we definitely have girlfriends, and they are 5-dimensional. They are immortal space. They are immortal goddesses and space ladies. So that's important to remember.
And unleashed. I had a discussion last year in 2017 with a physicist, and he has been working on extraterrestrial matters most of his career. He cannot come out into the public. He signed non-disclosure agreements.
They're super hot and really smart. Here, I have a picture.
He knows I will never. But when you can't,
I have a picture
and the information is important
our
for humans
space
to understand
girlfriend. Here she is.
He said that in a project that he was working on underground for the government, having to do with UFOs,
they
and
all look just like this.
That he was introduced for the first time. That in the astral dimension that is encompassing our universe.
So, doing atomic testing and splitting the atom lets demons into our reality that want to take our souls because they are 2-dimensional beings and they want to exist on our 3-dimensional plane. Okay, Linda. I want to bully you and say that you're wrong and dumb, but the last time I wanted to bully you and say you were wrong and dumb, you were 100% correct, so I can't do that right now. Let's continue to listen to you justify this.
The ones that are pulling the strings behind the scenes. And what if these certain individuals are possessed, or some other researchers may say that they are shapeshifters, alien shapeshifters, or hybrids, or whatever. But what if these demons, shapeshifters, alien hybrids, or whatever?
Could the global elite be reptilian alien shapeshifters? Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Whatever these people that form the strings behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, 100%. They're fucking shape-shifting aliens. Why wouldn't they be?
And they want to go towards a technocratic AI society of future, and that's exactly, I think, what possibly their agenda is. These certain figureheads in the world, I don't think they have souls. They're stealing the soul.
The only solution to this is to stop using nuclear power and switch back to coal and oil power. Duh.
And they have been exposed to tubes in which there were human bodies, extraterrestrial bodies, all kinds of bodies, and telepathically they even explained to the humans that have been abducted that they could use a cloning mechanism.
Is this going to be that thing from Stargate SG-1 where the aliens can't reproduce sexually anymore, so what they do is they clone themselves and they move their minds from one body to the other? Is this going to be that? Am I beginning to just everything is Stargate? Because I think everything is just Stargate.
All they need is some cells from inside of your mouth, and then they can make a whole one of you. No baby stage. At any age that they want. And in those 100 pages, half a dozen people talk about their experiences with this resurrection technology. And where those discussions with those abductees led was, if we are dealing with advanced beings who can just take sperm, egg, cells from somebody, put it in this technology, you, me, there could be a whole bunch of us, duplicated, triplicated, that we don't know that exactly you, me, anybody could be on other planets, all part of a network test or
Linda,
a monitoring
are you saying
in which
you're on another
the
planet?
bottom line would all have souls, or only the original one from which the genetic material was taken. And if there is some huge value having to do with a soul, and a lot of the non-humans don't have one, that same conversation leads to, who are these 1%ers that have been manipulating and bullying and pushing this world around for
Oh
the last
no,
at
I'm not
least 5,000
bullying Linda,
years?
please.
Are
Please
the
don't
1%
label me a
that control
1%er.
Earth, so less? It is actually a fundamental and very relevant question. It is not sci-fi. And how many of the 7.2 billion that is supposed to be the current population of Homo
Yeah,
sapiens sapien
yeah,
on
they
Earth
did.
and growing
It's a
exponentially.
common
We're
trope
supposed
at
to be
this
at 10
point.
billion in another 20 years. Can't even imagine. What percentage of the current 7 billion?
Although I would like
Are
to
Homo
say
sapiens
that Stargate
My
SG-1
own
did it
personal
first.
guess, based on
Stargate
everything I've been
SG-1
exposed
is
to,
a good show.
is maybe 70%. The 30% now on planet Earth are ET human hybrids.
Okay, to the ETs that are here on Earth, what I believe there are good and bad ETs here, and this is how we're going to round this off, Linda. Is there infighting amongst these ETs that are here on Earth? Is there a secret war that's going on? And I guess who are winning? And what is the
Why are
ultimate
all the
agenda?
conspiracy
And this is
people
the
so
version of this
interested
normally
in
on.
there being
You're
some
asking
sort of
questions
secret
that I am
war?
asking every person that I cross paths with of any kind of a military or intel or any relationship that I think that they might have some knowledge in. It constantly is, we don't know. But the answer that
Imagine
I
you
feel,
meet Linda at a dinner party and you're like, well, yeah, you know, I used to be in the Navy. And she's like, is there a secret war? Did you work for the aliens? Are they cloning people? What happened to the Japanese robot factory? And you're just like, I think I left my oven on. I gotta go.
feel strongly that I can say
Oh,
generally
man.
is that I have
Linda.
talked to people with great substance over the last 20, 25 years, in which they have said, we are on a planet where there have been, I'll sum up from a 1999 December, he had retired from the Defense Intelligence Agency, and he worked through a man who worked for the World Bank to have a meeting with me because of my 2-volume book, Glimpses of Other Realities. And in the introduction to me about why we should do this meeting, he said that I have worked for our government for 23 years trying to understand and monitor the geopolitical territorial conflict of 3 competing extraterrestrial biological civilizations.
Oh, shit.
So he says 3 in perpetual battle. And they don't battle with bullets or anything that we would consider as
The
weapons.
Zeta Reticulans.
They battle by being able to
the
manipulate timelines.
Pleiadians.
And they battle by mind over mind.
And
And they
the
use
reptilians.
holograms and neutralizing gravity as their technologies. Now, if you add
Where's the...
to that
Tell me
statement
where the Black Pyramid is. Give me
that
the
we are dealing with
coordinates.
advanced
And you're
beings
just
that
like,
can clone
oh,
anybody of anything
okay.
from anywhere in this universe, let alone this planet, we come down to a discussion having to do with
You
the mysterious
can't
life-making
escape
conformations in
Linda.
England. And this goes back
She's
probably
gonna hunt
somewhere
you
around
down.
the year 1996. And I was shown videotape in England by a man who spent endless nights with good film equipment on tripod, did it professionally, trying to capture lights that would be making crop formations. That's what he lived for.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed me a videotape in England that showed 6 balls of light moving in patterns between 2 hills, and there was a crop formation up on one hill, and it was late afternoon, and all of a sudden you hear the chop, 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 and coming up over this hill is a big Apache helicopter, bristling with weapons and some sort of a big canister.
Show us the
underneath, which
footage,
I later
Linda.
learned has infrared equipment. Because this man is told, and I was told also separately, that the United States government, working in collaboration with England and our World War II allies, we fly a certain infrared technology to aim at what look like humans in order to determine if they have ETs inside the bodies. That is a reality. Should
What?
we, any of us panic? No. I am a living testimony. I have walked the
You what? You can determine if someone's a human or an alien with infrared. Aha, that's what I got.
Two
What the
hemispheres. I've
fuck,
been in
Linda?
dozens and dozens and dozens of countries. I've been totally by myself so many times, gathering tissue from mutilated animals to get to
Linda, were
pathologists
you
or
ever
veterinarians.
married?
I've looked up at the sky occasionally and said, I'm really vulnerable.
Oh yeah, she was.
You want to take
Because
me
she
this,
has a
I
maiden
understand
name.
this is, and the fact that nothing
I
has
wonder
happened
what Linda's
says to me
husband does for a living.
that becoming
Do
conscious
you think he's away
of
a
everything
lot?
we've just discussed does not mean that you have
Think
to become
he's an
afraid of it.
alien?
The
Go
best
back.
thing that you can possibly do, and I have told more than 1,000 things to be panic, no. I am a living testimony. I have walked the 2 hemispheres. I have been in dozens and dozens and dozens of countries. I've been totally by myself so many times, gathering tissue from mutilated animals to get to pathologists or veterinarians. I've looked up at the sky occasionally and said, I'm really vulnerable. If you want to take me, I understand this is, and the fact that nothing has happened like that says to me that becoming conscious
because
of
she
everything
could
we
be
just discussed
abducted at any moment.
does not mean that you have to become afraid of it.
She's one
The
of
best
the
thing you
main
can possibly
alien
do, and I have told
researchers who
more than
does
1,000
not claim
abductees
to
the
have
same
any
thing in every
personal abduction
The best thing you can do for
experiences.
yourself at
And
all
that's
times
really
is always move to
interesting.
curiosity. Who?
Well, no, I
What?
wouldn't even say
Why?
that's deranged. Like, okay, so if you are a... So, okay. There's this phenomena where when you research aliens and conspiracies and, like, weird shit, right? It's said that when you look into the phenomena looks back at you. And if you spend all of your time searching for aliens and UFOs and like trying to hunt these things down, you start getting abduction experiences. You start getting these like you start experiencing fucked up shit because the phenomena is intelligent and it actively punishes you for trying to discover what's going on. And this is not like something that I'm making up. This is like a thing that happens to a lot of UFO researchers when they begin looking into the abduction phenomena or just aliens in general, or high strangeness in general, actually. And keep in mind, Linda wrote a whole book about high strangeness, right? And so the fact that she has not had any weird experiences or abduction experiences, actually a bit of an outlier in this situation. The only other person I can think of who's as prolific of a researcher as her, who does not have any bizarre paranormal experiences, is, oh no, it's no one. No one. Because even David M. Jacobs, when he was writing his final book, said that he'd been in contact with a hybrid who was aware of his research. A hybrid being a human-alien hybrid made to look like a human, but that still has the mind control powers of a gray alien. So Linda is utterly alone in her genre, in her line of work, as being one of the only people to do this much research into aliens and alien abductions and crop circles and high strangeness, and not have any experiences of her own. So I can understand why Linda is saying that she's vulnerable, because she is constantly waiting for that other shoe to drop and to be abducted and silenced. Which, if you put yourself in her shoes, makes total sense, because it's happened to a bunch of other researchers. So
Whatever appears in
don't
front of
bully
you,
Linda.
try
This is
to
me
mentally say,
actively
"Give me a break.
defending
Let me have
against
a chance at taking
Linda,
a telepathic download.
bullying
Try
Linda.
it for 3 seconds. See if I can handle it. That we don't need to run."
Do I think maybe she's way off base and that's why they don't care? It's hard to tell. It's really hard to know, you know? Like, what is the meta? What is the meta? Because... Alright. Well, no, it's a very good question. Because here's the meta, right? We know there's something going on, right? Nebulously, something. Like, we don't know if it's like aliens are real, the government is real, spirit is like real. We don't know what's going on. But we know that everything is not as it seems, right? We don't know anything beyond that. Now, every conspiracy theory is from a person. All conspiracy theories are created by a person. That person potentially either is a government shill, is not a government shill, or a third option, and this is the wild card option, right? Is influenced by the government but is not aware of it, right? So we have 3 kinds of conspiracy theories. We have conspiracy theories made by the government on purpose to obfuscate true conspiracy theories from being created. Those are psyops, right? We also have conspiracy theories that are created without the government sponsoring them, let's say. Let's say government-sponsored conspiracy theories. So, like, for example, you could take someone like David E.K., or David Icke, if that's how you prefer to pronounce that. I don't know how to say his name. And you could say, okay, David Icke, everything he says is not true because he is a government-sponsored conspiracy theorist. Or you could say Alex Jones is a government-sponsored conspiracy theorist. And what that would mean is that you would take that everything that that person says and you would say, why is the government pushing this agenda? Why is the government handing me this conspiracy on a platter, right? Is it true and they want to hide it amongst a bunch of fake shit that they've already given us? Is it more fake shit to hide true shit? Or is it maybe it's mostly fake, but it has just a little kernel of truth, so that when someone creates a conspiracy theory that has that kernel of truth included, they can point at this conspiracy theory that's so much more easily debunked and say, we're debunking this, therefore this one is also fake. So you have to consider these interrelated, like the interplay of the conspiracy meta as to what is true, what is fake, what is deliberate misinformation, what is deliberate misinformation seeded to people who have true information. Like, it's insane. It's impossible to know. So asking if maybe she's way off base and they just don't care is such a good question, because it's actually impossible to know. It's impossible to know if maybe the government is drip feeding Linda Moulton Howe this information on purpose so that they obscure crop circles, or maybe, you know, it could be literally anything. Like, we know nothing. We know nothing about the conspirasphere. And that's why that's such a good question. We have to decide for ourselves if we want to incorporate the things that Linda has presented to us into our worldview. If we trust that Linda is not controlled opposition, if we trust that Linda is not actively being told what to say by bad actors or given misinformation by the government, or, you know, anything, you know, everything is possible, and we don't know which one is happening. And that is why it is so bizarre that Linda is a person who investigates high strangeness, yet has not had any abduction experiences of her own, because the government has been accused of faking abduction experiences in the past. So, it is bizarre. It's very bizarre.